What do you guys think it's going to be, an open circle or a closed circle?
Close.
Bill, do you agree?
I do agree.
All right, good. We're all in agreement. Thank you. All right, so does everyone see this? We have a closed circle at 2, and then because it's less than, we're going to the left here, okay? So for our next problem, we're going to deal with fractions. You guys have dealt with fractions before. They're really not that bad, even though you all like to think they are for some reason. So we have 2/3 z minus 5 equals 9. And it's the same over here, except we have is less than 9. Just so you guys know, I always put a dash through the z to make sure, so you know it's a z. If there's no dash, it could either be a 2 or a 5, depending on my handwriting that day. So, what do you think we're going to do first here? Because yesterday when we dealt with, or earlier today technically, when we dealt with fractions, we multiplied by the reciprocal first, right? But do we have to do that here? You're saying no, why?
Well, I don't think you had to do the reciprocal last time either. It was just an alternative so that we didn't have to use multiply or divide by the fraction. But,
Right.
So I believe you don't have to.
Not yet, but we will eventually. What's the first thing we're going to do here?
Move the 5 over.
Yeah, so we add 5 to both sides. So we have 2/3 z equals 14. And we're going to do that over here with this problem too, right? Because again, it's all the same steps, only we have a different symbol in between. Okay, so who wants to tell me what this reciprocal is of 2/3?
3/2.
Yep. So we're going to multiply everything by 3/2 because, like we keep saying, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So when it comes to a problem like this, you might not know off the top of your head what 14 times 3 is, but do any of you know what 14 divided by 2 is? 7, right? So then we're going to take 7 and multiply that by 3, and I'm sure we could all do that. 21, right? So z equals 21. And we're going to wind up with the same answer here, only z is less than 21. So this is why we don't have our number lines already with numbers on them, because sometimes we start at 0. In this case, we're going to start at 21. And then around that, we're going to use 20, 19, 22, and 23. And so we have a less than sign. So open circle or closed circle? What was that?
No, abierta, lo siento.
Open circle, right?
Sí.
And then which direction are we going to?
Izquierda.
Right, to the left.
Sí.
Right.
Okay, so we have one more problem on this that actually we're going to skip. And we're going to move on to some key words that we need to know because we do have to know how to interpret word problems, right? So whenever we have word problems, you can have a ton of different ways that the author of these problems decides to word them. So a lot of times you'll see things like less than, greater than. If you see that, that's awesome because they're being very direct with you. But if we have an answer, if we have a question that says no more than, you might think, okay, that means greater than because you see the word more. No, that means less than or equal to because it could get up to that number, but it can't go beyond it. We also have is fewer. So if it's fewer, that's less, right? It's like the 10 items or fewer line at ShopRite. Well, that's what it's supposed to be, but it's not. We have no less than, right? So that's greater than or equal to because it can't go below that number. At most. That's another key word you might see. And if you see that, it means, again, you can't go beyond that number. That's the highest number that we can get to for this problem. No fewer, that's greater than or equal to. Is more than, that's greater than. No greater than is less than or equal to. And at least greater than or equal to. So you can see that the key words pair up with their definitions. They're just directly across from each other. And I also gave you guys the symbols because when you have to interpret your word problem, you have to know which symbol you're going to use, right? So do we have any questions on these words so far? Okay. So if we flip the page, what we have is we have two word problems here. So we'll read the first one together, and I'll ask you guys what some of the key words are. So Carly has $500 in savings for her summer vacation. If she wants to take out $25 per week, how many weeks can she take out money to still have, it's supposed to say at least $200 at the end of the summer? And then we're going to graph our solutions. So what are some of the key terms you guys should see here? Yeah, so we're going to have at least, in theory, so at least. So we're going to go back to our list of key words, and what does it say our symbol is for that?